Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something huge for India's healthcare leaders. We're asking, how do you take your patient data privacy and make it truly world-class? We're going to break down how a framework like HIPAA is about so much more than just ticking a compliance box. It's really about building that rock-solid global trust. All right, let me ask you this, straight up. For every single hospital leader out there, is your patient data truly world-class? Think about it. As you're pushing your institution into the future, this has become the new benchmark. This is what's going to define your reputation, not just at home, but on the global stage. And the background here is just so important. India's healthcare system is going digital, and it's happening at an incredible speed. We're talking electronic records, telemedicine. Patient data is basically the lifeblood of modern healthcare now, right? In this new digital-first world, protecting that data, well, it's not just some IT headache. It's a massive strategic asset. Honestly, your patient's trust is riding on it. Okay, so you might be thinking, why should a hospital in India care about an American standard like HIPAA? That's a great question. Let's really dig into why adopting a global benchmark like this is such a smart, powerful move. Well, looking at a global standard like HIPAA gives you some serious advantages. For one, it's like a proven playbook. The rules are crystal clear for handling sensitive patient info. Then there's the global recognition factor. This makes it so much easier to team up with international insurers and partners. And maybe the biggest thing, it forces a higher level of discipline and gives you these structured safeguards to protect against cyber attacks, which, as we all know, are a huge and growing threat. All right, so what is HIPAA, really? It sounds kind of complicated, doesn't it? But honestly, it all boils down to four main ideas, four core pillars. And they're all designed to build a system that's secure, accountable, and puts the patient first. Let's break them down. First up, you've got the privacy rule. This is all about how you handle protected health information, or PHI. Basically, that's any piece of data that can be traced back to a specific patient. The rule is simple. You only collect, use, and share the bare minimum necessary for an authorized reason. It really all comes down to respecting patient consent. Okay, next is the security rule. If the privacy rule is the what, the security rule is the how. It's all about protecting the electronic version of that patient data. And we're talking about real concrete things here, like who has access to what, encrypting the data so it's unreadable if stolen, and, super important, training your staff. Think of it as your hospital's digital fortress. Pillar number 3 is the breach notification rule. And this one is all about accountability. Look, if a data breach happens, and sometimes they do, this rule says you have to be upfront about it, and you have to be fast. It's not just about following the law, it's about keeping that trust with your patients, even when something goes wrong. And last but not least, we have business associate agreements, or BAAs. This is so important. You know that saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link? Well, that's what this is about. This rule makes sure you have solid legal contracts with all your outside vendors, your IT folks, your cloud service, the billing company, making sure they protect patient data to the exact same high standard you do. Okay, so how does all of this fit in with Indian law? This is a key point. A HIPAA-style framework doesn't replace your local rules. It actually makes them stronger. It complements what you're already doing, especially with the new Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And when you look at them side by side, you can see how well they line up. The privacy rule, it maps really nicely to the ideas in India's DPDP Act. The security rule, it fits right in with guidelines from the National Digital Health Mission. The big difference, really, is that HIPAA gives you a much more detailed how-to guide on the specific technical and operational steps you need to take. So here's the bottom line. If you're already working on complying with the DPDP Act, you're already halfway there. You've laid the groundwork. Adopting a framework like HIPAA is like getting a proven blueprint that just helps you fill in the rest of the details, the how, making your entire system stronger and way more practical. And let's be honest, these are the kinds of gaps we see all the time, right? Things like people sharing logins, not enough staff training, or those third-party systems that aren't properly secured. These are the classic weak spots. Just seeing them and admitting they're there, that's the first huge step to building a really secure system. Okay, enough talk. Let's get to the action plan. We've laid out a super practical 8-step roadmap to get this done. We've split it into 2 main phases. First, building the foundation, and second, creating the culture. Phase 1 is all about getting your technical house in order. Step 1, you have to know what data you've got and where it's all going. After that, you lock it down. We're talking strong access controls, no more shared passwords, and technical shields like encryption. And finally, you secure that whole supply chain by getting those formal vendor agreements in place. Now, phase two, this is where security stops being just an IT project and becomes part of your hospital's DNA. It's about having crystal clear policies. It's about training every single employee because they are your number one line of defense. Then, you have to keep testing everything with regular audits. And finally, you need a plan for when things go wrong. And notice I said when, not if. So, you do all this work. What's the real payoff? Well, it's huge, and it's about so much more than just avoiding some fines. This is about building an institution that's resilient and, most of all, trustworthy. Let me give you a real-world example, because this stuff works. There was a 250-bed hospital in South India that followed this exact roadmap. And get this, in just 1 year, they cut their data handling mistakes by 40%. 40! That is a massive jump in discipline and a huge drop in risk. We're talking real measurable results here. And the benefits just keep rolling in. You're talking about a stronger defense against cyber attacks, a real competitive edge when you're dealing with international partners, and, maybe the best part, a culture of accountability that spreads through every single department. This is how you build a hospital that's ready for the future. So I'll leave you with this. In the digital world we live in today, this isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's not optional. Building your systems on a global standard for data privacy, that is the absolute foundation of what it means to be a modern, credible, and trusted healthcare institution. It's that simple.